Hello and welcome back to the Blame Game for week 1 of the LCS. I tweeted that the LCS is the best region in the world to watch this weekend, and I stand by that. You got Church 9, roaming Jan at top, the premiere of TSM's LDL prospects, but with every winner comes a loser. So who is picking up the blame this week? Before we dive in this week, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, ding the bell to never miss an episode. I also record these live on my Twitch, twitch.tv/themarkz with 2 E's. I also run predictions during these on how many times I'm gonna flub my script. And last week it was over 20, so yeah, we're counting that now. First up, we have 100 Thieves versus the Team Liquid, a rematch of the summer finals. 100 Thieves managed to rebound after a disappointing lock-in tournament, and they picked up the win by shutting down Team Liquid's early game plan, which caused the community to call out Santorin in particular. But was this slow start actually his fault? Coming into the game, it felt like Team Liquid wanted to copy Dignitas's homework of shutting down FBI and Huhi by camping their lane with a Jarvan. In the first 10 minutes of the game, Santorin looks bot lane 3 times in a row and never really takes a look at topside, despite both side lanes having control of their matchups. A look, to me, is defined kind of like an option select in a fighting game. It means that you've pathed in a way that you have the option to gank if it presents itself, or you can continue on with your clear without losing too much tempo. This is different than a gank where you actually have to commit the time to doing it. Santorin does a standard clear from top to bot to end up down there, but Closer beats him into the lane, so Santorin abandons the gank to go for a double scuttle. On his reset, Santorin starts bottom rather than top for another look because he skipped Krugs initially. The 100 Thieves bot lane respects the fact that Santorin can do a bot to top path on this timing, so they stand a full brush length back to avoid a lantern flash flay gank. The double side lane pressure from Team Liquid means that 100 Thieves has no opportunities for deep wards during the laning phase, so this understanding is completely intuitional. They know Santorin is an efficiency-minded jungler and plays around his timers. Again, at 7 minutes and 40 seconds after the blue buff handoff, the 100 Thieves bot lane is playing safe to avoid a timing window. They're happy to eat a CS deficit if it means getting through the lane phase without any deaths. The reason the J4 strat worked so well for Dignitas was that River was willing to play a bit like an idiot. And I say that completely endearingly because it just made him very hard to predict. It also meant that he was very frustrating since he was willing to be inefficient around the enemy's win condition. At 11 minutes and 45 seconds, just before the big dragon fight, Santorin has a sizable CS lead over Closer with his pathing, but has done nothing to change the state of the game. Who cares that Jarvan has a CS lead? Even though Team Liquid picked Renekton, I can almost hear the pre-game planning being 100% about playing through the Thresh Jinx lane. At 5 minutes and 30 seconds, they could have tried a risky dive top. Bwipo has a level 6 advantage in nearly full fury. He could have not blown his cooldowns on the wave to give J4 time to get up there and try the dive on him. It's Grasp Orange, so there's no exhaust you have to worry about, and though Abbedagga might have been able to TP with his shove, at least you're forcing the enemy to maybe make a mistake instead of assuming that they'll play this out perfectly. Unironically, Team Liquid was trying to be too efficient and not worrying about enemy mistakes. The second topic this week also comes from another 100 Thieves game, this time their stomp over CLG. Contracts has had a very rough start to the year so far, and fans have definitely noticed, and the criticism continued with this game. Poom also has some questionable positioning, but how much of this was individual mistakes versus team problems? Well, to be honest, it was mostly individual mistakes, but they baited the rest of their team into making other individual mistakes. So where's the line between an individual mistake and a team mistake? Starting with Luger and Poom as a duo, FBI and Huhi get the shove and go for a recall, but Huhi desyncs the recall, so when CLG's bot lane thinks they can go for a free counter shove, he freezes the wave right in front of the turret. This lets the 100 Thieves bot lane control the lane phase and accrue a massive CS lead. This mistake is repeated at 7:55, though this time they just don't get the wave in at all. Some of the things that were being considered a contract misplay I think could actually be attributed to Palafox slightly more. On their mid dive at 7:30, Palafox primes his tornado on the wave, but doesn't posture aggressively enough with the wave to be in range for a combo. He should be communicating to Contracts to let him start the dive with a flash EQ ult, since TF does not have a gold card locked yet. And then Contracts can dash ult follow up if Abbedagga flashes the initial combo. However, Contracts starts the dive, Abbedagga flashes the Diana damage, and the tornado times out when Palafox tries to shoot it out. This leaves Contract standard under the turret with aggro, with Abbedagga finally pulling the gold card to stun him up. Palafox is gun shy again at 14 minutes when they land some nice damage onto Huhi. During this knockup, he could have ulted and killed Huhi with Ignite and the rest of his team there. Yasuo ult is coded such that you won't end up behind the enemy if you're in a position where the ult can be put outside turret range. It will try to keep you safe if possible. So even if he took it here, he couldn't possibly have been stun locked underneath the turret. The next mistake is hard to know exactly who to pin it on. Contracts gets warded out with a wave in a good spot for CLG, so they don't want to let 100 Thieves push it in. However, Huhi is clearly moving first and it's been communicated by Poom, so Contract should just sack this and go farm his top side since they still have a 2.5 minute window before Abadaga's flash comes back up. I can't say who calls to take this 2v3, but it's an incredibly bad idea. Poom's pathing is also screwed over by this play, because the only way that he can save this fight is by taking an incredibly aggressive path. He could have just sacked it and let it be a 2 for 0 for 100 Thieves, but this pathing opens up the opportunity for him to get into range for a flash alt EQ combo that might have saved Contract's life. I can appreciate the attempt at trying to save a doomed play that's very important for your team's win condition rather than just giving it over to the enemy. Poom's other mispositioning comes after 18 minutes in a map split situation where him and Luger want to position aggressively to not sack mid control completely, while still having a safe path south out of there. He can't run back to turret here because Huhi is wrapping behind it. However, a sneaky Jin trap slows Poom unexpectedly and lets Closer get on top of him. The posturing was definitely too aggressive though. I don't see any point in shooting the Qs at Closer here. To bring it back to Contract, there is definitely one play that is his fault, however. It goes sour initially on a bad blast cone, and he dashes back in with an ult before flashing out, leaving him with no cooldowns to fight with. He should have followed Poom out of the pit and threatened an engage on the members trying to walk through the tri-brush to save Abadaga. If they slow play this and let Jenkins collapse, I'm pretty sure they just win this fight. Other than Jenkins, the entire CLG lineup made some pretty horrible mistakes this game. I don't really like singling out Contracts or Poom for it, especially not considering the fact that they're playing the reigning champs after they just beat Team Liquid. Important, before we end the blame game, I am bringing back the Comment of the Week award when it is appropriate, and this week, goddamn, do Dignitas deserve it. I hope the orgs keep this level of roasting up in the comments sections. That's gonna do it for this episode of The Blame Game. Thank you all so much for watching. It was a wild opening weekend, and I do not think that this is gonna slow down at all. So make sure to check out the LCS next week and The Blame Game that comes out on Wednesdays. I record on Mondays. I'll see you guys then.
Well, LCS is officially kicked off, and I know what you're concerned about, and that's just performance. How will North America perform? It's all about perform. Well, listen, I can tell you one great way to get an amazing performance, and that's with an Alienware computer. Yes, you can get the new Auroras available on alienware.com/Travis, or why don't you get a great notebook from them, maybe an M15 or X17 at alienware.com/Travis. They have great performance as well. And so who cares about how we perform this year when you've got the performance you need from Alienware?